So a Minnesota school board is actually now forcing parents to dox themselves before they're allowed to actually speak.
Each speaker is asked to state his or her name and address for the record. Failure to do so will result in an individual not being allowed to speak. John, can you give us your name and address, please?
My name is John Wicklund. I live in Mankato.
Could I get your address, please, John?
I'd rather not, since you guys
Don't
have
give
it
your
already.
address, you can't speak.
And I get so much property damage and eggs and everything else from fun people and their friends.
John,
happen to be on
you
the
need
school
to
board.
give your address.
All right, I live on 5th Street.
Excuse me?
I live on 5th Street.
House number? Thank you.
All right.
The woman you just heard there is Jody Sapp, a member of the Mankato Area Public School Board in Minnesota. Now, as you saw, this Minnesota school board is now requiring that parents dox themselves publicly before they're allowed to actually speak. And this woman does something absolutely despicable here, if you noticed. The man here turns his back away to make sure, of course, they can hear his address, but the people watching online do not, to make sure, of course, limits his exposure to possible malicious actors out there. And what does this woman do? She sees this and then intentionally repeats it again into the microphone to make sure everyone, of course, knows what this man's address is. They are getting to the point now where they are so terrified of any bit of criticism levied their way. They are now doing whatever they can to intimidate these parents from ever deciding to speak out. Because guess what? This man, as well as any other parent who might have anything negative to say against the school board, now will have a target on their back. People will know where they live, so if they want to go after them, they can. Now, of course, I know people are saying that, oh, well, school board officials are also being doxxed, so it's good that these parents get a taste of what's coming to them. Here's the deal. This man did not dox this woman. This man has not threatened this woman. This man has done nothing of the like. As far as we know, this man has absolutely had no contact with this woman before this moment here. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot sit there and try to dox people who have done nothing wrong. But again, this is always how the left reacts. The left never looks at, well, what's the morality of what we're asking here? They go, do the ends justify the means? It's the only way they look at the world. It's time and time again. All they care about is how can we make sure that parents are not harassing the school board members. And their answer, of course, is to suppress anyone who might have any criticism of the school board. They're using that as an excuse to limit criticism of themselves. And here's the funny thing. In the same video, Jody Sapp then does this.
Open forum participants are prohibited from calling out or addressing any individual school board or school district staff member. If this occurs, open forum will be closed and the individual will not be allowed to participate in future open forums.
Not only are they intimidating parents by forcing them to dox themselves, but this woman is now claiming that the school board has now requested that parents are not even allowed to call out members of the school board in the first place, or anyone who works for the school district. Parents aren't even allowed now to raise concerns about particular members because they are so thin-skinned they just simply cannot take it, I guess. Not only that, but she also had one more thing to say there.
Crowd noise or any sort of grandstanding during open forum, including applause, talking, hollering, or any outbursts will result in open forum being closed.
You are not even allowed to clap if someone says something you agree with. It's funny, people joke about the mask being muzzles, right? This really is muzzling people's opinion. This is muzzling people. Everyone has to sit there, uniform, without, smiling or cheering or nothing. They'll have to be another brick in the wall, right? They have to just sit there and have no expressions whatsoever. This is ludicrous. It is a public school system. A public school system, which means the public should have an obvious voice in the matter. Now, the good part is at least I think a lot of parents are starting to wake up. They're starting to wake up to what's been happening in the school system since, probably for decades at this point. All right, the school system has been corrupt as hell for at least the past 20, 30, possibly 40 years. I can say when I was in school, I went to a pretty good school. It was a public school, but overall it was a pretty good school. It was in a good area. I had a lot of great teachers who I really do admire. With that said, a lot of the way the school is ran, it is nothing but indoctrination of the youth. All right, if you want to do something that's even slightly individualistic, they suppress it at every turn. No, you must do things this way and this fashion exactly when we tell you to do so. You have no choice in the matter. Again, as the song goes, you're just another brick in the wall at this point. You're another cog in the machine. And of course, what do schools do? Well, they're constantly telling you, you have to go to college. You have to take out these loans. You have to go hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt. It's the only way you'll be successful. It's part of why I am sympathetic to all these people who are, struggling with massive student loans. I'm not saying they should be completely just taken away from, but I will say this. I don't totally blame them for taking the damn loan, because throughout their entire high school career, they're just told nothing but, you have to go to college, you have to do this, you have to do this. Is it any wonder they then take that advice as just fact and go off and take out these massive loans? The school system has been corrupt. It has been corrupt for as long as I've been alive, for at least. The only thing now is that we're starting to realize it more and more. It's starting to become more and more open. It's starting to become more and more in the public. We're starting to realize that the issue isn't just with the schools themselves. It's also, of course, with the school board. What these people have been doing, what they've been pushing down the throats of the people in their area. They do not care about the students. They do not care at all about the parents. That's for damn sure. What they do care about is, of course, being petty tyrants. Being their being their own little dictators in a way of course, what will happen to these children. It's fascinating, right, that we are at a point now in society where we give these people, we give women, we give our children to people like Jody Sapp here, a woman like her, who's clearly an authoritarian, lunatic. We give our children over to people like her to raise for us. That is where they're learning their values from, their morals from. These are the people they're learning how to look at the world from. These are the people they are spending the most time with. And people will say, well, you got them on weekends, you got them over spring break and all that stuff. Yeah, sure. Except here's the thing, in our day-to-day lives, if you send your kid to public school and you work a normal day job, they go to school and are with these people for 8 hours of a day minimum, right? They then come home. You come home from work. How much time do you really spend with them then? How much time do you really spend with your kid after you get home from work? And I'm not saying that to really get on you entirely. The reality is, you work hard. If you're lucky, you might have a family dinner. If you're lucky, but guess what? They might have sports they have to go do. You're going to take away their sports? No. You barely have time with your kids during weekdays anymore. It just is almost non-existent. They spend more time with the likes of her than they will you. These are the people we're turning our children over to. These are the people who our children are learning from. And we have to be careful of this, which of course raises the question. Should we A, try to fix the school board, try to go in there and run for office ourselves, or B, pull our kids out of public schools, homeschool them, send them to private schools, whatever? Leave a comment below, what do you think is best? Try to reform the school system as is, or should we just pull our kids out of it? Because guess what? We have to do something. We cannot allow school boards like this to be in control of what our kids are learning. We just cannot. They've already proven themselves to be incompetent. They've already proven themselves to be basically despotic. They've already proven themselves not to be trustworthy. We cannot allow these people to continue to educate our children. So what are the choices? Leave in a comment below. What do you think should be done? As well as, of course, if you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up. Like the video. It really does help out a lot. And, of course, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll be talking again real soon.